Hi, my name is Ijeoma Ucheibe, and welcome to another episode of the Naija HR Chic Series with me, where I talk about everything human resource related and its intersection with the law. I know I haven't been on here for a bit, but 2025 is shaping up to be a great year for every one of us. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Naija HR Chic community. Uh, do well to subscribe down below. We try to keep it very interactive, so comments are welcome on any and all of my videos that you might have watched before now to catch up. Today we're going to be talking about my personal experience with gang stalking. I feel ready to talk about this now only because of therapy, which is something that I keep talking about a lot of times, and I always encourage HR professionals and just people who operate in the workspace or workplace to just be vulnerable sometimes, because you can only do too much to keep your head together in a Nigerian workplace. Gang stalking, I'm not going to give you the definition, is online if you want to find out what it really is about. Is where you feel like it could either be coming from your team members or it could be coming from your manager or even management, where you are made to feel like nothing essentially. And it usually starts with either a very malicious rumor that you cannot even tell, okay, this is where it starts from and then this is where it's going. And I had that happen to me, and it was a very trying time. Thank God for loved ones, thank God for therapy, but more importantly, thank God for God, because I don't know if I did not have my salvation intact, how I will have weathered that particular storm at the time. So I have this tendency to just be overly proactive, if you understand what I mean. And sometimes I have been found to make some judgment calls that are in error, not because I went into it not thinking through certain decisions, but sometimes human beings will be human beings. And I think in one of those situations, I may have made that error in judgment. And this is where stakeholder management, which I will speak about, comes into play, because sometimes we take this stakeholder management of the thing for granted and we don't know how important it is. In essence, how to play politics. That's the English I'm speaking. So what happened was I had, for want of a better word, stepped on the tail of a tiger, who was my manager, one of my managers, because it was a matrix structure at the time. And this person had it out for me. They did. I will not even lie to you, but I don't want to say I was naive to think that because they showed signs that they were on board with most of the initiatives I was bringing into the organization, that they were not going to have it out for me. So what happened that fateful day was I had done something that I will not go into details right now, necessarily because it is done and past, and I'd rather not go into detail about it. And it came to the attention of this said manager, who took it upon themselves. See what I'm trying to do here, so that I don't give away the gender of the person as much as possible, to make sure that, okay, they were going to get me out of that organization. Yes, I can look back and be like, oh, it was petty, it was unfair. I could, hey, even sum it up to constructive dismissal, like I always want to advise people to do when they feel unwanted or they feel like it's time for them to leave a place, but they are being forced out. That was the case. And that's when the gang stalking started. So it started with this particular manager planting a malicious rumor that I had been inappropriate with someone who was reporting to me. And we all know what that definition is, even if you're not a lawyer. The recent updated definition of harassment comes under that. And it was very painful for me because, like I had said in one of my videos where I talked about a false claim of being accused of harassment of another colleague, it just took me down that memory lane, and it was not something that I would want even my worst enemy to relive. So it's bad enough that this person has this notion, however false it is, about you, but then they now had to start spreading it around, members of management. And before you knew what, people were giving me that look, and I knew that that was not the kind of person that I was. So it started affecting my mental health, for want of a better word. and I wasn't doing my work well. I just needed to get out. On the one hand, I knew that I was being forced out, so I could sue and say, oh, this was constructive dismissal as it were. But on the flip side, I said, okay, this is just a clear case of gangstalking to paint you out to be this bad guy that you are not, only because you knew that what you were trying to do with a particular initiative that rubbed this particular manager the wrong way was done in good faith. So I thought that was the end, but it didn't end there. Up until they started making sure that people who I worked with were going to give me help. So if I had team members who were working with me, they were putting things in their head to disrespect me, to make me out to be like someone who didn't know what they were doing. And guys, sooner or later, I pride myself on being this mentally strong person, but I found out that I was having challenges waking up, even wanting to come to the office. And this is me who likes work. Everyone who knows me, friends, family, know that I am a workaholic of some sort. So when you get to a point where it feels like, oh my God, I have to go to work today, you know that there's gotten to a point where maybe it's time for you to leave. But I didn't like the experience, and I didn't like what it did to my mental health. I didn't like what it did to me when I moved on to a new place, because it made it seem like every other person was going to do that to me, and that was not it, because I met some very fantastic people along the way. But it taught me one thing about stakeholder management, that sometimes in the spirit of, okay, Ijeoma, stop using that word, politics, in the spirit of trying to play politics in the workplace, we all do it. We don't want to do it, we don't like it, but we are forced to do it. You need to be able to take your time and study the place. You don't just come in and woof, you throw down initiatives down the throat of employees, management, your managers, just basically anyone who is a stakeholder in that business, because we are all stakeholders, even though we might be clients or employees, however the designation might come off. So that was one first lesson I learned. Learn the place, learn your managers, manage up. Because at the end of the day, even if you're going to cry foul and be like, oh my God, they didn't like me, they did this, they did that. I'm able to say this now because of how I've been able to move on past it. I learned those vital skills. And that's where my journey to stakeholder management, which I will speak about in another video, started. Did I like it at the time it was happening? Hell no, I didn't enjoy it. It makes you so, it breaks you down in a way that if you're not careful, not only will you be ending up depressed, but you will not be able to think good of anybody in the workplace. You try to make it seem as if everyone is out to get you, and that's not the case. This was just a clear case of me and this said manager having it out for me. It wasn't like, but I was able to still take some lessons from it later on. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, oh my God, the lessons came immediately. No. If I had a way to do certain things to that particular manager at the time, I would have done it. But I had to be able to get to a point where I forgave them. Yes, forgave myself for not being able to take the cue when certain cues were given to me. And then more importantly, moving on. That is the most difficult part. And that is where therapy comes in very, very handy. I cannot speak about this enough. And I must give kudos to my therapist. She she saw a lot. She heard a lot. I'm just going to say that for this video. And she was able to just like help me be clear about certain decisions that I needed to take going forward. And then she was even helpful with tools, and a lot of things that I felt that I was doing right were more or less trauma responses to that particular situation. So if you're going through a gangstalking incident, now I'm going to attempt to define it in the description below. Hang in there. It's going to get better or not. Or you can also have the option of leaving, so it doesn't feel like you are having Stockholm syndrome on this particular situation. But at the same time, find time to also take lessons from it. I took a very important lesson from it, which was stakeholder management. And I'm surprised I didn't get emotional during the course of this video, but yeah, it was a lesson. It was a journey to get to where I am today, to be able to speak about it. I was so sure I was never going to ever speak about this ever on camera, I was just going to keep it for my book when I release it in the future. But here we go, talking about it, albeit not in detail. But yeah, hang in there, it's going to get better. And then if you have experienced this and then you have a different tip to profile, hey, hit me up in the comment section, let us know, share it with the community, and don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to put on your notification so that when the next video drops, you are the first to get it. And more importantly, please enjoy, please subscribe. We promised we're not going to be going AWOL in 2025. Thanks guys, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode.